host.
There we are.
Summer's live now too. We are live with our friend George Fields, who gave us a call and asked us to come and address something that is a problem with the city that we're going to let them explain to you. I'm going to ask you guys to speak up just a little bit because we're pretty close to traffic. George, I'll let you go ahead and introduce the folks who are with you and then tell us your story.
Okay, my name is George Fields. This is Skip. This is my dad, Mr. Kelly, who lives here. And this is a friend, Mary Hall. She's a liaison for the California community area. Basically what we're here for is that my father had a contract to do his house with the city, and they have failed to do what they're supposed to do. They have tore his house completely up. He has mold all through his house. They have not housed him in a facility until they finish his house. So basically what we're trying to do is to get whoever's in charge of this project to understand that this is totally unfair to a guy that fought for the country, and this is like a slap in the face to what they're doing to him, and not only who else knows who else they're doing it to. So basically we're gonna let Skip discuss what the contract, the violations that they have violated on the contract.
Go ahead, Skip.
Yes, my name is Skip. And by the contract, they came in on the 5th of August, and they're supposed to be out here the 5th of this month. And it said if they didn't have it done in this certain amount of time, that it was a violation in the code that they was doing. And on the paper that once I went through the contract, it said that if they found lead and in the ceiling and in the windows, and he got great grandkids that come around her, that it's a danger to their health to be in this house, just like it's a danger for him.
Yes.
Since they've been working, he been isolated to one room. And when we try to talk to some people at the city, they gave us the runaround, and we done called several other people about it, and it still ain't got no answer back. And then last night he had got a phone call from one of the city workers, and they told him that they is not going to do no more work on the house because me and my cousin had brought it to their attention about them covering mold with drywall instead of tearing the mold out of the ceiling and putting new ceiling up. They just put new ceiling over mold, and you can see it running down the walls. And it's all in his carpet where his roof been leaking for years. And they finally put a new roof on it, a new air conditioner unit towards the contract. But they did some rooms in the house in the contract that ain't in the contract. But there's some rooms in the contract that they should have did, and they said they ain't gonna do it because they had did the wrong rooms. But the house is not livable for a veteran or anybody else. And I don't know how many people in the West End that they going through doing it because they done brought materials to this house, enough material to do the job, and they took them away from her. I got all the pictures of everything, like the roof. They replaced the roof, but it's wood up there that's rotten that should have been tore out and redone. And then when I came in here to tell them about it, it was a runaround and lies back and forth instead of doing what the contract said. So I pulled out the contract and showed them in writing that the $24,000 they gave him to do this house, you don't cover up nothing with that type of money. You tears it out.
Right.
Because I used to do this type of work and people contract stuff out to me, but you know, I ain't doing that type of work no more. But I know what the codes is by Section 8 in the city, so when he called me to come and look at it, I came over to look at it, and I went to Mr. Rico Williams, and I told him, but he kept giving me the runaround. He said he was going to come back and tear out a piece of the ceiling to see that it had mold. They went up in the attic and looked down on the ceiling instead of tearing it out to get it redone, to check. Well, the paper had already said, his contract already said that it was mold and lead in the house. So he shouldn't even been in here. They should have got him an apartment or something to live in, where he's breathing all this. His breathing is off and bad. You know, we don't know how sick he might be from being in this house for the last month. Now the contract is violated because it was supposed to have been done the 5th. Now they done laid it over 2 weeks, and they came out yesterday, and they textured it up. They didn't do nothing but mud the ceiling and taped it. They said they ain't gonna paint none of it, and told him that they'll get back with him. So he's laying around in there where he could have went to his daughter's house or somewhere and stayed. if they would have notified them, they just popping up when they want to pop up to do the job.
My profession.
And so when I talked to them, they said they didn't want to talk to me and George no more because that ain't the person they talk to. But the thing is, it's more of my uncle's health than anything we thinking about. He's laying in this house in one room. He got plastic over every door in the house, inside of the house. Then he got to move it out of the way to get through the breathing stuff, the toxic waste that's still in this house. And when you try to do it by the right way, they don't want to do it, you know. And like I said, I don't know how many other old people in the neighborhood that they done did it to, or in the West End, or wherever they done did it to. But I came out before they can bring it out to the eyes of the media and people to see that they are not treating veterans right, and they are not treating our senior citizen right. And where is this money going at? Because if you would see the work that they done in her, it ain't no $24,000 worth of work that they done did.
So let me ask Miss Mary a question, because you said a few minutes ago that you actually had this done and you were housed outside of the house. Is that right?
Yes, I had small grandchildren at the time, and what they did, they put me at the Marriott out on Alpha Equipment Drive, you know, about a fairground. But they do ask you, do you have somewhere to go? Because they cannot start work on your house if it has asbestos, mold, lead, with you there. They have to get you out of here. You have to go. You can, if you got a family member and you can go there and stay. They're gonna tell you to pack up your stuff, move your stuff out of the way. I moved mine up in the top of my house. Everything was out. They gated me. They put caution tape up. Nobody could come in my yard. Nobody could come around my yard. I had a gated fence.
Is this the same kind of grant or contract?
Same program.
Same program as
Same
you had?
program. They come in. What they did though, they did tear out my walls going upstairs because it was plaster and they had mold, and put drywall. But they tore it out, the little sticks and everything this. But in my basement, all they did was just paint it over and it started peeling back off. So I knew how to deal with it after that. So I did it myself. But they should have notified him to go to his daughters. He's not supposed to be here with caution tape inside his house, and he's sleeping on the couch. And he done moved out his furniture.
Okay, so is there a way for Mr. Kelly to relocate at this point to get himself out of this toxic environment? Does he have someplace that he can go, or do you need to ask the city who's doing this contract work to put him up somewhere, as Miss Mary says she will?
Yes, definitely. We have somewhere for him to go.
But they didn't notify.
But the issue is, Tyra, the issue is, they did not notify my father. They just came and just totally disrespected my father.
Right.
And my issue is, what I want is satisfaction and respect. That's all I'm asking for. Not only for my father, but for the rest of the people that are senior citizens living in the West End. They are totally disrespecting us down here in the West End.
Agreed.
We're talking about a veteran that served the country. And this is a slap in the face that they're giving him. That's totally disrespectful. That's uncalled for.
And thank you for your service, Mr. Kelly.
And they know, and the people know, Tyra, they know that they did what they did. So wherever, like Skip said, the money is nowhere near $24,000. Now they're talking about not coming back and fix what they're supposed to fix.
You don't have to worry about them not coming back, because once they started, they have to
I'm not worried about that. I'm just speaking on what they're doing.
Yeah, but they have to come back.
I understand all that.
They try to scare our elderly. I have gone through it all the time, where they tell them they're not coming back. But they have to come back.
Well, let's hope that they do. And whose name is the one on the contract as the person that made the arrangements with you to have this house done?
Well,
Pardon me?
my cousin Deidre and him talked to her, the lady down at on 5th Street.
Okay.
That's who we need.
So who's the person who's got this, who's like signed the contract from the city? Who's the one who's caused this to be
Rico signed it from the,
You gotta look at the back page.
Okay. Let's try to reconnect. Hang on just a second.
George.
Yeah, I'm still alive.
Okay, we're back.
You understand that, right?
They should write it and then sign it.
Do you have a card attached to there somewhere?
Yeah, that's
Can you understand that, Mika?
Shamika Shaw has joined the live, by the way, folks. Whose card is I
Yeah, on
saw
the
a
front.
business card with the university.
that's the head man that came
What's
out.
his
Okay,
name?
that's Louisville.
He's supposed to be over Rico Williams.
What's his name?
His name is Michael Miles.
Okay, so Mr. Miles would be a good person to reach out to, and we will certainly do that. See if we can get some sort of understanding of what the situation is. Make sure that you're
Yes,
going
Trudy,
to be
this is the
getting
program that they fix
the
houses
They
on.
denied
workers to
it.
return.
They
Yeah.
denied everything.
Supposed to be
He
the
said
program
that
been
that
here.
fix
the
houses.
contract, the money they gave him in the contract, if they didn't bid enough to do it. But they had brought all the material out here and sitting out there next to the house and on the inside of the house to do the other two ceilings that was supposed to have been done in the first place. But they going by what they wanted to do and did two other rooms on the inside, but they covered mold up.
Right,
They just
Yeah,
put the
which we all know
drywall
is
up over
something
mold.
they can't do.
right.
And when I explained it to him, he acted like I was trying to be argumentative with him, but like I told him, I'm trying to be professional, and I'm coming to you. I don't know who's running what around here, so I'm asking questions. That's when Mr. Scott from ABN talked to me. He said, well, this is what was in the contract. So I came out on the porch and read the contract. The contract strictly said, do the front room and the third bedroom.
Yes.
When you go in the front room, it's an eyesore where the ceiling's falling out, and then they're talking about coming back, putting some stain killer over it, but you still ain't had it tested for mold.
And that's not fixed. Putting
then-
stain killer's not fixing
No,
it
as long as,
at all.
as long as that
We all know
mold
that,
get
Joe.
on that wall, long as it turned to something else. He said it's sus like in the pipe. Sus in the pipe turn into a fungus, and that turns into mold. And when I explained it to him, like I said, they started leaving, they packed the stuff and took the material out of the house and left. And they told us they'll be back in touch with us. Then it been 2 weeks. They just now get back in touch with us yesterday on the 13th. And they came in here and they didn't do nothing but mud and tape. One Mexican, but they came in here. All AB and crew came in to re-tape up plastic around the doorway. He had to turn to get through the doors just to get to the kitchen or something. And they came back and re-taped it. They left. Then the Mexican came that they contracted the ceilings out to. That did the ceilings he taped, but he said he didn't want to do it because it was too many people around it, but there wasn't nobody in the house.
But
So-
he can't stay in here.
Yeah, but he's in the house the whole time. Where he got on the Mexican because they didn't cover his furniture up, and just was gonna do mud and tape the ceiling without covering the furniture. So the Mexican left because he said that he was in his way.
So, Shamika, can I get you to pop in a little bit here, because you're pretty much the expert on all of this stuff, Shamika Shaw. Talk to us a little bit about your experience and whether this is something that is the usual standard operating procedure in what you see, and what actions
Unfortunately.
you would recommend that be taken here.
You know, this is happening all too well. I just literally left the scene of another situation with mold and mildew with the city, and it's actually ridiculous that they're having people to live in these conditions, and to have a program set up specifically to help our senior citizens here in the West End to fix up their homes that they have been living in and owning for 40 plus years. We want to bring our properties back up to value. They don't want to sell their properties to the gentrifiers and the redliners. So I think this is a ploy of these contractors and even with the city, certain parts of the West End that they just specifically want back. And they're going to do whatever they can to try to push our seniors out, to try to eliminate and banish affordable housing and people in affordable housing. This situation is nothing shy of what the contractors have been doing for years, coming in, starting the work, and not finishing it, and then leaving our senior citizens unable to live in their homes. So as the city of Louisville, code and inspections, they're not coming out and dinging themselves. So we as the
Well, I
people,
understand there's a shortage of inspectors at the
That's not true.
City level.
They
I
sit
mean, that's
around
what-
with their cars in the alley.
That's what I was
Literally,
going to say the
I
same
see
thing.
them
I see them in the
all the
alley.
To them and ask them.
Sitting around.
There was
in their
one
cars,
actually
just-
just right before I came up. We
just
went
sitting
there. They were all in
chilling.
the alley on
You know,
Market.
they're not working. I got like I said, another situation. Code inspections refuses to come out. This is the 40214 neighborhood. You know, Louisville Metro Housing Authority, scatter site properties, mold and mildew, appliances don't work. You call 311, got a whole record of 311, 5 tenants calling 311 and complaining about this stuff, and code and inspection just closes out, never even come out.
They only
So-
come out if they want to take your property. They have took 3 properties from me.
And that's because you, as a regular citizen, you're not a big gentrifier like, you know, the Messers, and you know, you got those major gentrifiers out here that are out here investing, and a lot of out of town investors. So they got a lot of contracts with out of town investors who they would rather give our homes to, but we have invested in our community, to someone that does not have an invested interest in our community at all, and they specifically are coming to flip and sell. They're specifically coming to take our veterans' homes and leave him homeless.
Because I get letters, we like to buy your home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
get
see,
one.
And then
I get those too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
they called me and told me that they'll get back with me and let me know, because the guy is supposed to come out here and test for mold and mildew.
But it's in the contract that they already tested.
But they already tested once, but he said he gonna get back with me and let me know when he gonna come.
And he hasn't got back with you yet?
No.
Of course not.
or they said that.
Unfortunately, yes, like she said, I see this a lot happening, especially down here, because I own a couple
Because
properties
this
down
is
here
an
too.
older property.
And
These older properties too has to be
Unfortunately.
tested for lead paint also.
Yep.
So they said that they tested it, and
It's in the
levels,
contract.
elevated levels of lead dust were detected, and so hence you take down the drywall and put up new drywall and use non-lead based paint,
They already make the money.
and that's how that is supposed to
He's
go.
supposed to come back, but he gonna let me know when he coming. That's when
But he got to
they
stay in
called
his
me
house
today.
before he notified him. He been laying around and they put us off for 2 weeks to come back to do what they did yesterday. There's 3 rooms of taping and mud, and then they left.
I have somebody on my live, she said, so because I'm in 40216, I don't qualify, I signed for the same program. They told me I'm getting a phone call and info, never happened. One zip code was put in. I'm in District 1, which includes the West End. Go figure. It's true.
Yeah, and so you know they're splitting it up to who they say it's available for and to who is not, and then they're only using specific contractors that is contracted with the city as vendors, and these vendors are horrible, as we know, because you're using the same vendors that you use for your scatter site and your Louisville Metro housing projects, and as we see, you have failed your audit time and time again for failure to maintain proper maintenance. So we can't depend on your contractors to do the work in our homes, because they're not even doing good work in your homes, in your buildings that you're paying them for as vendors. So what I say is allow the tenants to find their own contractors. We have contractors out here, good contractors, reputable contractors, that have been trying to get on vendors lists with Louisville Metro Housing Authority to do specifically this type of work. We've pitched a program, specifically rapid repair program. Myself and my partner, we pitched this in council to David James, to the mayor, to the Metropolitan Housing Coalition, to the, you name it, the Office of Resilience, all of them. We pitched these things because we're talking about affordable housing, we're talking about homelessness, we're talking about veterans. There's money out here specifically that's being used for veterans. Where's that money at? Where's his money at? Veterans specifically have money set aside for just this, to purchase, to fix up, and to build new homes. Why is he still sitting here and already approved for a program, and because the contractors that y'all choose decide not to do the work, so he has to suffer? So here again, we have to reach out to Mayor Fisher again, and David James, and the council members, and Metropolitan Housing Coalition, and the people who are in control of these fundings. Who's doing the estimating? It wasn't the resident. So whoever you said underestimated, and then that once again that goes to a piss poor contractor.
$24,000 underestimated. Do the work.
Do the work.
Just do the work.
Do the work.
Basically, what
all you
they're
gotta
trying to
do.
this is what they're trying to do.
$24,000, and all they was doing was renovating. This was a renovation. It wasn't like a flip. This is drywall,
Right.
cutting down drywall, doing ceilings. I know contractors that could have got this job done less than $20,000, and it would have been done, completely done. I mean, they could have tore all the drywall out of this house, did all the ceilings for $24,000. How do I know? Because I'm in construction.
He doesn't even have a
That part.
I'm in
handrail up.
construction.
He-
I know
they
we
supposed
do
to put
this
a
every
handrail?
day.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
And then they supposed to be coming back fix the light fixtures in the house where you just barely touch the cord and they snap off.
Yeah.
So it might be a shortage somewhere where it can cause a fire. In
I
the
was just
house.
going to say,
It's
does he have? He has
They
electrical
had to put
problem.
this off after they came and put in a new electrical box where they supposed to did it that day, change the switches in there, the wall switches and everything.
We need
it's
to-
in the contract,
Yeah.
but they said they'll be
But they
back to
did
do
that.
it. But he lived around here and suddenly just like a time bomb, don't know when it's gonna explode.
So let's let Mr. Kelly come on, and he's been very silent, letting a lot of people speak for you, which I know is a difficult thing to do. Talk to us about your experience, Mr. Kelly, and what it is that you need the city to do.
Well, my experience is that they told me that they gonna be here this morning, and then they gonna get here at about 6:30 in the evening because they been working someplace
That's
else,
about right.
and then they work until they get ready to go, and they don't let me know, are you gonna come back tomorrow? So now I gotta lay around and wait and see if they coming.
They need oversight. The city needs oversight over these
They
programs.
ain't, they ain't. And so I told him, I said, well, do I have to be here? I said, because I got someplace I can go and stay. I said, do I have to be here? And I don't get no answer on that, you know. But they take and said, well, we'll be back tomorrow, you know. I said, okay. So I lay around. And so they bring all their equipment, or what their drywall and everything, you know. And so I asked them after they got through doing the drywalls that they called themselves doing in the house. I said, I done did a little drywall, you know, myself. I said, why don't you just tear that out and see if there's any mold or anything behind it? They said, this is the way we do it. They put it up there, you know. I said, well, I ain't got no more to say about it because I ain't in charge, you know.
Okay.
But when Scott, their boss, come, the one that is contracted to, I tell him about it, you know, and on my contract, I pointed out before they even started. I showed them all the rooms that need to be done and the roof and everything. Well, you know. So all that supposed to be wrote in the contract. But now when they come to do the house, they come talk about 3 rooms. I said, well, no, I said, these 3 rooms right here is the worst 3 rooms. And then they said, well, these other 3 rooms, you're going to have to get somebody else to. I said, me, y'all ain't going to do it?
So Shamika, at this point, what is your plan and what is your suggestion to help to advocate for Mr. Kelly?
Well, really, we need to fire the janky contractors, first of all. And so we need to get in touch with whoever's in charge, and we're going to pick another contractor. We're going to get a contractor that is insured and bonded, that we know is doing this type of work on a regular, and they care about the work that they're doing. Right. It's not just about the money. Right now, we have these contractors that are contracted by the city that's just only working for the money. Right. And they're working multiple, like he said, multiple jobs that at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, by 6 o'clock, we're rounding up in construction and going home.
Yep.
So when they're coming over here at 6 o'clock, they have no intentions on completing no scope of work at that. You're inconveniencing and holding this man's life up. So from this point, I'm ready to get with the city, Mr. Michael Mouse, And we're going to find a new contractor. And I got one in mind for you. Matter of fact, I got a whole crew of Mexicans that'll get in here and have this
Get it
drywall
done.
hung up in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's facts.
Well, we appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to amplify the message that you have, and we're sorry for the inconvenience that you've suffered. Again, thank you for your service, Mr. Kelly. And Mary and Skip and George, thanks for supporting your elder, and Shamika always being the expert on site when it comes to construction questions. We appreciate it. We look forward to an update that this
Yes.
is being taken care of.
All right, that's all.
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Guys,
You know me,
See you flying
cause
down the street. See,